So today we are talking to Jason Breidinger, mortgage banker.
Yes, thank you.
And so, Jason, why don't we start with how you got into all of this? Your
Geez, that's
story
a long
of
story.
well, have the Cliff Notes version. And
Right.
yes, not everybody will know what that is, but
Yeah.
for our generation, we know what Cliff Notes
Well, I
are.
would tell you that this has always been like a little bit of a passion of mine. My beginnings really go back to real estate brokerage. I really learned everything that I know from being a real estate agent and a real estate broker.
And you're generational, right?
Yes,
Like you're,
you are right. I'm a second generation,
which
right?
is great.
So I try to stay 29, but I'm not anymore.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think that longevity has really given us a perspective on things that we're glad to have.
Mm-hmm.
When you see how you learn what you learn, we're really a tapestry and we get woven pretty neat. So that's how I got started. I got started in real estate, helping people and learned
Dare I
that
ask what year?
1997.
97.
Yeah, 1997.
Was
So
when you got your license.
graduated college and got my real estate license. I actually studied real estate in college.
That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah.
What was your actual degree in?
My degree is human development and family studies.
Oh, nice.
So,
My BS in psychology, minors in chemistry, biology, and neuroscience.
There you go. So we help people.
Yes.
Right? We're people helpers. And even if you take these assessments that I took when I was in my 21-year-old body, that assessment said go work with people.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And they do assessments today. It's not a new thing.
Yeah.
You try to find out, okay, what would I be great at?
Yeah.
And so helping people was the category. And I landed on this.
Yeah.
Getting woven through the real estate world really taught me everything that people are going through when they come to me.
It's social work. This is where, like, when I tell somebody, all right, call Jason, he did social work like I did social work. Like, you had a little stint of that, correct?
Oh, sure. Therapeutic staff support, they call it.
Yeah, and you did children and youth, right?
Yes.
Yes, and I was geriatric. So.
Yeah, so we work with all the ages, and you find these commonalities of what people are facing and how they face it.
Like attracts like, yeah.
Yes, and so it's really a calling.
Mm-hmm.
I'd hate to say that it's a job or a task.
Mm-hmm.
We have tasks to do, but this is not work.
Yeah.
This is getting to be with people and
helping
seeing
families
them succeed.
Yeah. Yeah. So, all right. So that's beautiful.
It's
true. It's great. I mean, that's excellent. So why don't you tell how we met?
Oh, I was walking through. I like for things to be fun.
Yes.
So I have as many fun ideas as I'm allowed to have.
We have a paper airplane
yeah, there's
over
an
there.
Airplane over there. I like to think that the work that is involved in what we do for a given day, we're working with people, and there's this ebb and flow of there's emotion. There's all sorts of emotion, and it's our job to always be the voice of reason.
Yeah.
Make sure that if they're having positive or negative emotions, that they understand both of those can be imposters.
Yeah.
And that they treat them with respect and stay level.
Yeah.
And while we're doing that, we have to have time to have our own recharge and fun.
Yeah.
And so if I'm walking through and introducing myself to somebody, I'll always have something fun or goofy.
I remember the day.
And I, at that time, had bought sticky buns from the local church
and
put a sticker on there that said stick with the best.
Yep.
And I would just throw them to people, whoever would catch them, and you call them.
I was working in the Allentown office of KW. And I had the office in the front, and anybody in those days knew I just lived in that office. I'd get the kids on the school bus, and then I just lived there until dinner time, and then go on appointments. And that was the joke. But I'm sitting there, and you walk by and threw a sticky bun at me, and the rest is history.
And you caught it.
I caught it.
That should be on record that you caught it.
I caught the sticky bun, and I still love sticky buns. I'll run an extra 2 miles to eat a sticky bun, but I won't eat the whole thing. And this is where there's apparently a whole movement where some people think it's wrong to take apart a donut or a sticky bun or whatever. I'll cut it, or I'll just rip off a piece, and it will upset people. Apparently, some people are you got to do the whole thing.
There's
where I'm team, moderation. Yeah, that's where I'm team. Today, I have ate just the top part of a donut because I'm not going to eat the whole thing. But apparently, that's a different video.
What's the difference? People leave them sit and then they get stale and the whole thing gets thrown away.
Yeah, you might as well eat the good part.
The donut won't feel good if it gets thrown away.
That's right.
It wants to give part of itself.
Thank you.
Welcome.
So I'm your team eat what you want and leave the rest. But yeah, so our sticky bun is what started all of it. And So what I like with working with you is that everything is laid out up front. So like what I was hoping we could go through today are a couple different topics, which will be broken up probably into a couple different videos, but I'm hoping we can discuss the basic how somebody gets pre-approved, what that looks like. And then I'm hoping if we can stay on topic, because that's not always easy for me, because I'm not a good sitter.
We've covered donuts.
And we covered donuts.
You're going to be okay.
Yeah. I don't even know what we well, sticky buns, that's close.
Yeah, it is.
So how somebody gets pre-approved, loan types, like just these are a couple loan types. At some point, if people have more interest in it, we can actually break down like more extensively what that looks like.
Right.
Numbers at any point, anything we say, we have a little fact checker. And I don't mean little and whatever,
like
but
5'9", isn't it?
yeah, I guess we have an average height.
Yeah, that's right. Better than average.
Fact checker.
Yeah.
That will throw in, images of whatever numbers we throw. So if we're like, oh, FHA 3.5, blah, 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 he can do a scenario.
6'5".
Oh, yeah. All right. So we have a huge beast of a man fact checker that is going to go through and do all of it. So, which is good. So we're going to cover the how pre-approval, the basic loan types. And then I thought it might be intriguing to discuss a little bit the difference that we go through with, because buyers have to do a lot up front. They need to get you everything. They need to explain everything, whatever questions underwriters have, whatever, they need to do that. But then pretty much what does the bank do once they have all of that? Like what is the whole, because that's pretty much where your job, and Mortgage America's job picks up, where it's like in the background, people are like, what's going on? Why do I have to wait 3 weeks to close? I gave them everything already, so I thought maybe we could do a couple different sections.
I think it would be first to acknowledge that our business is heavily regulated.
Yeah.
And it should be, you know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with that. A lot of times people complain about those regulations. We lean into them.
Yeah.
They're really protecting people. Mm-hmm. They're protecting people and they're protecting us.
Yeah.
So that's first. Mm-hmm. Second, I think back to the people, when you realize that everybody's different.
Yeah. And money. People are very different about money.
All of that. And so we first must decide what kind of an answer do people want? What are they asking for? This is about education.
Yeah.
Because everything's so heavily regulated, and like you just mentioned, I think you alluded to, we live in a world where somebody can click a button and it just appears on your porch.
Yeah, yeah.
You don't get to see who does the packing in between, who creates the product in between, maybe even who drives it to your house, but your ring bell shows them putting it on your bench.
Yeah, yeah.
We cannot let somebody think that what we do is that simple. Mm-hmm. At the same time, we must make sure it comes to them without friction.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's our task, I think, above all, with people and my perspective with how I'm looking at things.
Yeah, yeah.
Compared to perhaps others. Service.
Yeah.
At the same time, we must take in all of their income information, all of their asset information, what they have in the bank, what they have in their 401ks.
Yeah.
How much do they owe other entities and things?
Like, their debt to income. Like debt to income is a big part of being pre-approved. So why don't we dive into that? So somebody calls me and they're like, "All right, Jess, I want to buy a house." So I mean, just last week I had a client reach out, and I believe you met with him and his family. Mm-hmm. But nonetheless, they call me and they say, "All right, I want to buy a house. What do I do?" And I say, "Okay, well, the first step is for us to get you pre-approved. Like, I don't personally need to know all of your financials. I don't need to know what credit cards you have, your car payments, all of the above, how much money you make. But I'm going to send you, here's a couple lenders, because of course buyers may choose their lenders just like they can choose their agents. They have a lot of choices.
Sure.
Title company, all of the above, inspectors, all of it. But I say, here's a couple lenders that I trust, that I have used personally. And here you go. And I send over, your name. And so from there, what
first
takes
find out
over?
how much they want to spend.
Yeah, which is good, because some lenders, like if you do an online calculation, they'll just tell you, all right, you're pre-approved for whatever amount, and you really can't swing that amount.
There are two answers you get. Here's how much you're allowed to do, and here's how much do you want to do? Here's how much you want to do. And I think that education process for people is very important when you're buying anything. And I believe that in your mind, you do it let's say that you're going to purchase, I don't know, pick an item in the room. You're going to purchase a telephone.
A dog.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm just.
How much do I have to spend, and how much is that going to cost me?
Yeah.
Right. I have to feed the dog. Right.
Yeah.
But if I buy the telephone, I can use that.
Yeah.
How much is that a month?
Mm-hmm.
To get them to understand, folks who are making this decision in housing, which seems like a much bigger, intimidating, broad.
It's the biggest purchase for most people.
To them. So when you're doing it in housing, it feels like you should get that maybe a lot closer to right.
Mm-hmm.
And so to get these, when I was taught to drive, I was told keep it between the lines.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right. If it gets rough, keep it between the ditches.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
That's good.
So this is what we're doing when we sit. How much do you want to spend, and how much are you allowed to spend? Let's get those lines drawn. Yeah. And then once you've done that, people can find out from there what makes sense best, Jess. Yeah. Yeah. You see what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. And each person's different.
That's
so,
right.
like, not everybody's reading books on wealth, or how to handle money, or and how your parents handled money has a big impact on the subconscious way you even view money. So it's one of those things where, for me, a lot of people can feel judged when you're talking about pre-approvals, when in reality it's just numbers.
That's it. And
at any point, people can alter the number. So if somebody isn't pre-approved right now, I always say, well, the lender can tell you what you have to do to get pre-approved.
That's
so
right.
that in 6 months or a year or whatever you have going on, pay off your truck. Do whatever so that you have more buying power.
These are strategies.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
They're strategies, and people need to know what those strategies are. Mm-hmm. Education's the answer.
Yeah.
If they're sat down and they really think through what they want to accomplish, and then can learn how to get there, we're really not telling anybody anything.
Yeah.
We're giving them the rule structure.
The details. Like, you can't make an informed decision until you know what that looks like.
The worst thing that could happen is somebody could go in and they could buy anything, right? Here we're having a conversation about housing. But they could buy anything and then realize that they did something they should have thought about prior to that.
Yeah. Oh, right? Yeah.
Automobiles, that happens. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes
a lot happens with automobiles.
Sure.
I've had a lot of clients
so
have
there are these
regret
dynamics
for that.
between getting the wrong house and getting the right house, right? And as a real estate broker, you're able to show them what the market has to offer. Yeah. Is this on Main Street or is it on the country road? Is it small? Is it big? Is it in good condition? Is it in lesser condition? Yeah. This is what the market has to offer. Yeah. What does that mean for them financially, and how do they get to that? Yeah. These are the lines we have to be able to draw for them so they can operate. And
this is where I feel like having a human do it, because there's a lot of talk of AI taking over our world, where I think having that understanding of, all right, what does this person need, is what is so crucial too with all of it.
It is.
So I know a lot of what we've recorded so far has been whatever you're pre-approved at, buy. If whatever you're, if you're pre-approved, like Josh and I, 19, 20 years old, $35,000, concrete house in Allentown. Yeah. Cold, as you can imagine, a concrete house in Pennsylvania would be when you can't afford heat. It was very cold. But we sold that and made enough money to buy a half a twin in Hall Court, where we had our babies at. We lived there for 2.5 years, and then we were able to buy our first single. So it's like, whatever you're pre-approved at, you don't have to live there forever. It doesn't have to be the perfect fit. And I think depending on what generation it is, there's some generations that want to find their forever house, but they're not they can't necessarily afford it right now. So, and that's part of where we get to work together, where somebody calls me and I can say, look, I don't make the market, I interpret it, and I'm going to send you everything within your affordability. Because the market, I have a magic wand sitting in my office over there, and it just, it's broken. It just can't. No, it's a nice, cute little pink one. I don't even know where. I think I got it when I was still a social worker. Okay. My supervisor, she was great. Her name was Alicia, and we would joke. Let me grab. Oh wait, let me grab my magic wand, because you can't just change what's going on in the world.
Learning what you can control and what you can't control. That's what folks need to sit down and understand. That's a good point.
No, I'm just joking.
That's a good point. Because when you look at closing costs, that's a part of what we're educating people on. How much are you allowed to spend?
Mhm.
And then what do you want to spend? Well, as long as what they're allowed to spend is more than what they want to spend, isn't the world a better place?
Yeah.
Right? And then they can decide from there. They can have control over the process, which is
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
And then they need to understand what the closing costs actually are in housing.
Yeah.
Right? There are a whole bunch of definitions there that
Yeah.
each and every one of them people are very, very well capable of understanding on their own. But
Yeah.
somebody has to tell them what they are and what they do.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
mean, I think
that's
that's
important.
a topic in and of itself,
Yeah.
So somebody calls you, they say, okay, Jason, I make 75,000 a year.
Hmm.
I have no debt. We'll just keep it simple.
Hmm.
I am comfortable with 2,400 a month, and uh, my significant other makes 50,000 a year, and she has a car payment, she has student loan debt, she has a credit card bill, like, what can we do? So, and this is where, like, we could have days and days on end of different scenarios, but just for this, just so people can understand, like a scenario like that,
I
what would you kind of guide that potential buyer? What do
Well,
you
at
think the
first we'd
outcome
want to
would be?
find out from them, if they have student loans that you mentioned, are they in
Okay.
deferment right now, or are those student loans in repayment status?
Yeah.
Because there's a short term moment right now where they don't have that monthly exposure to that debt, but it's going to kick in later.
A lot of people have deferments right now
Yes.
because
And
a lot of people, again, depending on their generation,
mhm.
are getting ready to buy. As we know, the average home buyer, the number used to be, you know, what was it, 28 in 1986, and fact checker can pull it, but now it's like 42. So
Right.
it's like, and a lot of people, there's a lot more people, and this is a unique, our generation, it was like a bachelor's was only 80, 86% of the population didn't have one. Where now I'm sure that number is substantially higher.
Oh, education's wonderful right now.
Yeah, I mean,
There's
most
educated
people,
populace,
and
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 that's
not everybody
important.
who even graduates. There's so many people who at least took,
Classes of
4 semesters,
some sort.
5 semesters, so they have some sort of debt, even if they don't have their degree. So,
You're right. You do have to pay for that, but
mhm.
it's worth it.
Oh
We
yeah,
do believe in education, and when you get to this gets to the point, we find out who are these folks and what they want to accomplish. That's the important part.
yeah,
So if there are many ways to structure things, do we use both people? Do we use one person or the other? And so how do these rules apply to you?
yeah, yeah.
Right? And I think that's a really important part of this advice because um, everybody will talk to everybody about
Hmm.
here's how I did it and here's how you should do it.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
or all the options too. Like with us doing it for, I mean, I'm only 22
9 years old.
years. Yeah, of course. No, 20,
Yeah,
22 years in the
yeah.
business. Like, our value lies in our wisdom. Somebody comes to us with whatever they got going on, and
Hmm.
we're like, all right, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this. Like,
That's right.
where, so
That's
in
right.
this scenario, when I think back to like Josh and I was the one with student loan debt with credit cards, and so we bought the house just off of Josh. I was on the deed, but the numbers just worked better, not including me, you know?
Sometimes it's where there's a will, there's a way,
Mm-hmm.
right? Folks come, and other times it's hey, we're strategized about this. You have to acknowledge engineers think a certain way,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Blue
Those
personality type, yeah.
those that drive for a
Or
living
C's.
think a
Yeah.
certain way.
Yeah.
Those that do medicine think a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
All of us are made. People like you and I, who have a social work background, think a certain way.
Yeah.
We all have our own kind of language, and we have to
Yeah.
find out when we're sitting with
With their
folks
money languages too, yeah.
what their intentions and how they process these things,
Mm-hmm.
and really what their goals are.
Yeah.
And that leads to saying, okay, here's how we'd advise you.
Yeah.
But in general,
Uh-huh.
you have rules to money, and one of the rules is that it's a liquid and that it flows a certain way.
Mm-hmm.